Look up at the night sky. What do you see? Countless stars glitter like tiny diamonds scattered across a vast, dark velvet. Each of those points of light is a sun, much like our own. Many of them have planets orbiting around them. We call these exoplanets. For as long as humans have looked at the stars, we have asked a simple yet profound question. Are we alone in this immense universe? This question drives our curiosity. It fuels our greatest stories and our most ambitious scientific missions. We send telescopes into space and rovers to other worlds, all in the hope of finding an answer. Our planet, Earth, is a beautiful blue marble. It is covered in vast oceans of liquid water. It has a protective atmosphere and a stable climate. All the life we have ever seen, from the smallest microbe to the largest whale, depends on these conditions. We are carbon-based life forms. Carbon is the backbone of our biology. And then there are the lava worlds. These are rocky planets that orbit incredibly close to their parent star. They are so close that their surfaces are permanently molten. The most popular candidate has always been silicon. If you look at the periodic table of elements, you will find silicon sitting directly below carbon. Like carbon, silicon can form 4 bonds, which allows it to create long-chain molecules called polymers. On Earth, silicon is incredibly abundant. It makes up about 28% of the Earth's crust. We see it all around us in rocks, sand, and quartz. But on a lava world, this changes completely. The immense heat acts as a powerful catalyst. Every living thing on Earth, from the smallest bacterium to the largest blue whale, is built upon a carbon framework. It forms the proteins that act as tiny machines inside our cells, carrying out all the essential tasks that keep us alive. Our planet is rich in liquid water, which acts as a universal solvent. This means it can dissolve many substances, allowing the molecules of life to move around and interact within our cells. Like carbon, a silicon atom can also form 4 bonds. This immediately makes it an interesting candidate for an alternative biology. On Earth, silicon is far more abundant than carbon. The crust of our planet is a quarter silicon by mass, locked away in rocks and sand. However, the story of chemistry changes dramatically when you change the environment. Imagine a world without water, a world of extreme heat. The incredible heat, reaching thousands of degrees, could provide the necessary energy to break those strong silicon bonds. Let's imagine placing a carbon-based life form, like a simple bacterium from Earth, onto the surface of a lava world. The outcome would be immediate and catastrophic. The delicate carbon molecules of its DNA and proteins would be ripped apart, their bonds unable to withstand the thermal energy. Now let's perform the opposite experiment. Imagine we could bring a hypothetical silicon-based creature from its lava world home to Earth. Our planet would be unimaginably cold to it, like the deepest freeze of outer space. Its blood of molten rock would solidify, freezing it solid. These are real planets that astronomers have discovered orbiting other stars. They are typically rocky terrestrial planets, much like Earth or Mars in their basic composition. The ground itself is a glowing, churning ocean of molten rock, a sea of magma that can reach temperatures of thousands of degrees Celsius. Any atmosphere they might possess would not be made of nitrogen and oxygen like ours, but of vaporized rock and exotic gases like sodium and silicon monoxide. To us, a lava world sounds like the definition of hell. It is a place where our kind of life could not possibly survive. Every biological system we know requires a liquid to function. On Earth, that liquid is water. The most abundant liquid on a lava world is, of course, the molten rock itself. This molten silicate sea could dissolve other minerals and compounds, creating a rich chemical broth where the building blocks of silicon life could mix and interact. Life in a silicate solvent would be fundamentally alien. Instead of cells with watery interiors, these organisms might be complex crystalline structures. Many lava worlds share a peculiar feature due to their proximity to their star. They are tidally locked. The result is a planet with a permanent day side and a permanent night side. The day side of a tidally locked lava world is an unimaginable furnace. Here, the surface is a vast open ocean of magma. On the other side of the planet, the permanent night side, the story is completely different. With no direct sunlight, this hemisphere is incredibly cold. Between the searing heat of the day side and the absolute cold of the night side lies a special region. Scientists call this the Terminator line or the Twilight Zone. It is a permanent band of dusk that wraps around the entire planet, separating the hemisphere of fire from the hemisphere of ice. This Terminator zone offers a fascinating possibility. It could be a place where the lava is not a raging ocean, but more like a network of slow-moving rivers. Perhaps silicon-based organisms could thrive at the edges of lava flows, drawing energy from the temperature difference between the hot magma and the cooler, solidifying rock. The simplest of these silicon chains are called silanes, which are similar to the hydrocarbon chains that are fundamental to life on Earth. This high-temperature environment would favor the formation of silicon-based polymers known as silicones. The intense heat could provide the energy needed to break and reform silicon's strong bonds. Imagine creatures whose bodies are made of complex silicon compounds, known as silanes or silicones. Their blood might be liquid magma, and they might breathe vaporized rock. It is the possibility that life could be built from the very rock of a planet. They would not be soft and fleshy. They would likely be crystalline or rock-like in nature. Could a sea of magma, a silicate-rich lava, act as a solvent for a bizarre form of life? This molten silicate sea could dissolve other minerals and compounds, creating a rich chemical broth. Their bodies could be intricate lattices of silicon polymers, directly immersed in the molten rock. They would not need to drink in the way we do. Their internal environment would be almost indistinguishable from the external world. A seamless blending of life and geology. While the chemistry for silicon life on a lava world is theoretically possible, it would face enormous challenges. One of the biggest hurdles is the speed of life itself. Imagine a life form whose every breath or heartbeat takes years or even centuries. Its growth might be imperceptible to a human observer. Life needs a constant source of energy to power its metabolism. The intense heat of the planet itself, the geothermal energy, is the most likely candidate. While silicon can form chains, it struggles to form the same incredible variety of rings and complex three-dimensional structures that carbon does. For carbon-based life on Earth, oxygen is the elixir of life. When we metabolize carbon compounds, we exhale carbon dioxide, a gas. If it were to metabolize silicon compounds with oxygen, the waste product would be silicon dioxide. This is not a gas. Silicon dioxide is the chemical name for quartz, which is essentially sand or rock. The intense heat and chemical nature of a molten planet would likely result in an atmosphere that is reducing, meaning it is poor in oxygen. It might breathe sulfur, for example, and exhale a gaseous silicon-sulfur compound. Earth is home to a remarkable group of organisms known as extremophiles. Consider the boiling hot springs of Yellowstone National Park, or the deep-sea hydrothermal vents. These vents, found on the ocean floor, are cracks in the Earth's crust that spew out superheated mineral-rich water. Yet even in this seemingly hellish environment, life thrives. Entire ecosystems of tube worms, strange crabs, and bacteria flourish here. Instead of using sunlight for energy through photosynthesis, they use a process called chemosynthesis. Think about the deep-sea hydrothermal vents on Earth. They are like miniature volcanoes on the ocean floor, providing a constant source of geothermal heat. Now let's transport this concept to a lava world. Imagine the entire planet as one gigantic hydrothermal vent. A hypothetical silicon-based creature might function in a similar way to our tube worms, but on a much grander scale. It could directly absorb minerals and chemical compounds from the molten rock, using the planet's immense heat to power its slow, deliberate metabolism. So, what might a silicon-based life form on a lava world actually look like? We really have to abandon all our familiar images of life. Forget about heads, limbs, eyes, or skin. A silicon being would be shaped by a completely different set of pressures. It would likely be crystalline in nature. Imagine, if you will, a complex, slowly growing mineral formation, more like a giant quartz crystal than an animal. We could picture them as living mountains, slowly expanding their crystalline forms over millennia. How would such a creature sense its environment? It would not need eyes, as there might be no visible light to see. Its consciousness, if it had one, would be a slow, deep awareness of the planet's geological heartbeat. So how do we actually search for these hypothetical life forms, these beings of fire and rock? Our search must be conducted from afar, using powerful telescopes. By watching a planet as it passes in front of its star, an event called a transit, we can learn a surprising amount. Thanks to missions like NASA's Kepler Space Telescope and TESS, we now have a growing catalogue of these fiery worlds. One way to search for life is to look for signs of technology, what scientists call technosignatures. The most powerful tool we have for finding life on distant worlds is a technique called spectroscopy. Different gases in the atmosphere absorb specific colors or wavelengths of light. This creates a kind of barcode that tells us exactly what the atmosphere is made of. For a lava world, we would be looking for a very strange atmospheric barcode. For example, we might look for complex silicon-based gases like silans. We could also look for other chemical imbalances. Life has a habit of producing gases that are out of equilibrium with their environment. Let us imagine for a moment that we succeed. Imagine that the James Webb Space Telescope analyses the atmosphere of a distant lava world and finds something extraordinary. If the evidence holds up, the discovery would change everything. It would be the definitive proof that we are not alone in the universe. The discovery of silicon life would mean that biology is not a single recipe, but a universal cookbook with many different chapters. It would imply that life might be common throughout the cosmos, taking on an incredible diversity of forms. Our journey has taken us from the familiar blue and green of our own world to the fiery heart of distant lava planets. The idea of silicon life on a lava world shatters this limited view. On a cool, wet world like Earth, carbon and water are the perfect partners. But on a scorching, molten world, perhaps silicon and magma are the ideal ingredients. Thinking about these alien possibilities teaches us a profound lesson in humility. It reminds us that our way of being is not the only way. Life might be more common, more diverse, and far stranger than we have ever dared to dream. The quest to understand silicon life is not just about finding aliens. It is fundamentally about understanding the full potential of chemistry and physics. By imagining what life could be, we gain a deeper appreciation for what life is. This exploration transforms the cosmos from a collection of inanimate objects into a place of boundless potential. Life might be a fundamental property of the cosmos, an inevitable outcome of its laws. As we stand here today, on May 24th, 2024, our most powerful telescopes are scanning the heavens. Instruments like the James Webb Space Telescope are peering into the atmospheres of distant worlds, including some of these fiery planets. We are living in a remarkable era of discovery. For the first time in human history, we have the technology to move beyond speculation. The path ahead is long and will require patience. The signals we are looking for are incredibly faint. The act of searching, of looking up and out with curiosity and hope, is one of the most defining characteristics of our species. Finding any form of life, no matter how simple or strange, would be a turning point for humanity. So, we will continue to look. We will build bigger telescopes. We will develop more sophisticated techniques. Because in this grand cosmic quest, the journey is as important as the destination. The search for alien life is, and always has been, a search for a deeper understanding of ourselves and the incredible universe we are so lucky to be a part of.